DreAllDay.com.
Now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unified philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is manipulation is a good thing. What exactly do I mean by that? I'll explain to you when we get into this. Before we get started, I'll remind you of two things. First of all, my daily and weekly motivation text messages. When we start sending those out again, you'll be getting those as a member of my texting community. Just text me at my number 305-384-6894, number down below in the description. Secondly, workonyourgameuniversity.com. You want to have me as your direct coach. You know you need a coach. You know you need to be held accountable. You know you need a real game plan and strategy for what you are doing. And you know you need to get your mind in the right place to actually do it. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. We do all of that and more. And you get direct access to me as your personal coach. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Link down below as well. Manipulation is a good thing. First of all, let's get a definition of this word manipulation, because socially this word has been engineered. Our social engineering has got most of us thinking that manipulation is a bad thing. If someone's doing any form of manipulation, they're doing something wrong, doing something bad or malicious. Definition of the word is to control or play upon by artful, unfair, or insidious means, especially to one's own advantage. You will often hear people talk about manipulation as if it is a bad thing, and a bad thing only. Someone using some form of mind trickery or a mental game to move another person into a behavior that other person otherwise would not have taken and which would not be good for them. So while, yes, there can be a misuse of manipulation, today I will help you understand how manipulation is actually a good thing, something that has been used on you in your past to your benefit, believe it or not, and something that you should start using more often and doing so consciously in your own life so that you can benefit yourself and benefit the people whom you serve. I'll explain. Point number one, topic once again is manipulation is a good thing. Number one, any action done intentionally or unintentionally to alter another person's behavior is a form of manipulation. If you've ever done anything to alter another person's behavior, whether you did it on purpose or you did it by accident, you manipulated that person. So that makes you a manipulator. And every one of you has done this many times in your life, many times in which you were completely unaware that you were manipulating a person, but you absolutely did. We all do this. When I'm walking with my 2-year-old son and he stops and asks me to pick him up and carry him, and I say no, and then he pretends to get upset or pretends to cry because I won't pick him up, he is using manipulation. He is trying to manipulate me into feeling guilt about not picking him up by pretending to be upset about me not wanting to pick him up. And one of us is going to win in our manipulation. I'm either going to manipulate him into continuing to walk, or he's going to manipulate me into picking him up. But either way, we're both trying to fight against each other in this manipulation. Fight, and not in a negative way, but we're fighting. His manipulation against mine. We're just going to see whose frame wins. And often, actually, no, about 50% of the time I will pick him up. And the other half of the time I say, no, you're too heavy, or it's too hot, or we're almost home. You're going to walk and I'm not picking you up. Or because he's done something he wasn't supposed to do. And I tell him, hey, if you do that thing you're not supposed to do, you got to walk. All right, you didn't tell me you need to use the potty. You peed on yourself. I'm not carrying you because I'm not getting your pee on my suit jacket. So no, you got to walk. And he knows the rules. The whole point is we're both playing a game of manipulation against each other. So either way, his intent is to manipulate me into doing what he wants me to do. And my intent is the same on him. And he's only 2 years old. So if you're 35, you are much more seasoned and experienced and even subtle in your manipulations. But again, remember what I said at the beginning of this point. You don't have to be doing it on purpose to be manipulating another person. If you're doing it consciously to alter another person's behavior, that's manipulation. That doesn't make you a bad person. Sometimes you need to alter another person's behavior in order to get them to do whatever it is that you need done, or to get them to do what they need to do. Sometimes you got to manipulate a person to get them to help themselves. Is this true or not? All of you have been in that situation. If you pay a person to clean your house, you are manipulating them. How? You are altering their behavior by offering them money. And they are manipulating you. How? They are altering your behavior by offering by offering you their cleaning services. So if a person comes to my house to clean and they say, Dre, I will clean your house for $50. They're getting me to give them money. That's altering my behavior, because otherwise I wouldn't give them money by cleaning my house. I'm manipulating them by giving them the $50 or offering them $50 to do an action, which is cleaning my house. Again, let's look at the definition of the word manipulation. To control or play upon by artful, unfair, or insidious means, especially to one's own advantage. So artful is a very, that's the key term here in this definition, because artful is a very relative term. I can consider it artful to charge, or not charge, but negotiate with someone that I'll pay you $50 to clean the house when their normal rate is $100. I got them down to 50 because I negotiated with them. Is that artful? Yes, it is. I altered their behavior. All right, again, and I did it to my advantage because I want to save that $50. So now instead of spending 100, I only spent 50. I got 50 to keep for myself. So manipulation is not a negative thing, folks. Anytime you're trying to alter another person's behavior, you are doing some form of manipulation. Again, not in the way that you've been socialized to look at the word, but that doesn't mean that that's not what's happening. This is manipulation. And you're manipulating them, they are manipulating you, and it's a give and take. Or you just need to understand that the game is happening, so you don't have to continue pretending as if you're not participating and or losing the game because you are completely unaware of what's going on. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is manipulation is a good thing. Number 2, living or behaving in a way that is not aiming to alter other people's thoughts, words, or actions. Don't call this being honest. This is what some people do. They call themselves living in a way in which they're not trying to alter anybody's behavior, and then they call themselves honest as if this is some type of virtue. No, you should call it what it actually is, which is idiocy. This is stupidity. If you are not trying to alter other people's thoughts, words, or actions in any way, shape, or form, you are being foolish. This is a foolish way of operating. Manipulation is the name of the game of life. All of life is some form of manipulation. Anytime you're trying to influence or persuade another person, you are attempting to manipulate them because you're trying to artfully get them to do what you want them to do, and somehow, some way, it serves you, whatever that may be. Even if getting another person to do something to help themselves serves you. It serves you because it makes you feel good that you were able to move that person to action. Is that manipulation? Yes, that's a manipulation. Anytime you are dealing with another human being, you are looking to manipulate them in some way. It need not be with malicious intent. Again, you can manipulate someone for a positive outcome. If you're a politician trying to win votes for the upcoming election, you are manipulating the minds of the voters to get them to think negatively about your opponent and positively about you. All right. If you're in marketing, running advertising, you are artfully coming up with ways to move people to see things the way that you see them so that they'll call your phone number, send you an email, or click on your link in your advertisement. If you run you're trying to create prospects and turn those prospects into customers. All right, that is manipulation. That's all marketing and advertising is. If you run a dentist's office and you send a letter out to your patients because they haven't been to your office in the last 6 months for their bi-yearly checkup, you remind them to get that cleaning. You are manipulating them and hoping that some of them comes back and schedules an appointment at your practice because they haven't been there in a while. You want to make sure they remain clients. Anytime you are not looking to intentionally move people to a certain action that would help both you and them, you are blowing a golden opportunity. If you're a salesperson and you have people who have come through your sales funnel or looked at your product or service, and you are not systematically following up with that person to make sure that they know all the options available to them, and you are not exhausting every possible avenue to turn that prospect into a client, you are blowing a golden opportunity to manipulate them into action. And to get them to take the action that you want them to take, that they know they need to take, but they just haven't done yet, you need to manipulate them in some way. You need to artfully use your communication skills to get them to do what they know they need to do, but they have a lot of resistance stopping them from doing it. Your job as a salesperson is to move them to that action. I talked about this in the episode on the real job of a salesperson. The real job of a salesperson is to move people to do things that they know they need to do, but they haven't been able to move themselves to do, and they need a professional, that's you, to help them do it. This is what a personal trainer does. How many of you has ever worked as a trainer or knows a trainer? If you know one, ask them, just play this part of the episode for them and ask them if it's true. Have you ever had a client who knew they wanted to get in shape and knew they needed to start eating better, but they were too fucking lazy and undisciplined to do it on their own, so they hired you to help them do the shit that they know they need to be doing on their own? Of course you do. The entire industry is built on this concept. Most people who have personal trainers or let's say personal trainers or nutritionists or fitness coaches are not people in this amazing shape and they just want to stay on the cutting edge of being the best at fitness. It's lazy, fat people who are completely out of shape and have no discipline when it comes to their bodies. They hire someone to replace the discipline that they don't have. All right, this is a manipulation. They are playing a manipulation game on themselves because they know they can't do it on their own. They've at least come to that conclusion, and that's when they go find a professional to help them out. And the professional, you're able to make money by helping them out. All right, everybody wins in that situation. All right, so any of you, again, you see someone who needs some help and you know a way to help them, especially if it's related to your business, and they know that you're in business, and you don't let them know as many ways and as often as possible. Well, let's not say as often as possible. There's an art to it, depending on what business you're in and who you're talking to. But if you don't let them know consistently that you have a way of helping them so that they know that they can solve their problem through you, you don't tell them, and then they end up not getting the help. Well, who are you helping? You're not helping yourself because you didn't get a new client. You're not helping them because they didn't solve their problem. You're not even helping the government because you can't pay taxes on money that you didn't make. All right, so everybody loses when you don't do your job. I'm talking all you professionals, all you call yourself salespeople out there. All right, this is your responsibility to manipulate people into doing the things that will help them. This is your moral obligation, as we say in the sales world, that if you have something that could help your prospect and you don't exhaust every avenue to get what you have into their hands, you are not doing your job. You are violating the oath that you indirectly took when you became a salesperson, which is to make sure that you get your products into the hands of the people who need it, even if those people are resistant to getting the product. If they show any inclination to wanting it, what they're telling you is that they just need a professional to help them do what they otherwise couldn't move themselves to do. And that's why salespeople exist. That's why selling is the oldest profession in the world. I'm giving you all this to help you understand that you need to take many of the things that you have been socially conditioned to think are bad things, like manipulation, and understand that you have been conditioned that way for a reason. The people who taught you that these are bad things are using these very things on you to keep you under their control. Who told you that manipulation was a bad thing? All right, they were manipulating you when they told you that. So it's like spy versus spy. All right, everybody's just trying to get everybody. All right, so that in and of itself is a manipulation. When someone tells you that manipulating is a bad thing, so you shouldn't try things to try to move people to action, because then it's like you're coercing them or you're forcing them or you're being a pushy salesperson. You sometimes need to, as a salesperson, and when I say salesperson, I don't necessarily mean you're exchanging your product or service for money. What I mean is you're trying to influence or persuade another person. Sometimes you need to be a little bit pushy and a little bit forward and a little bit aggressive. Maybe take out the little bit out and just be those things, pushy, forward, and aggressive, in order to move another person to an action that person has otherwise shown themselves to be incapable of taking on their own volition. That's why you're a professional. That's why you get paid to do what you do. Because see, if everybody just did what they were supposed to do without any help, then there would be no need for salespeople. People just do what they needed to do. You go to the gym, there are salespeople at the gym who sell gym memberships. Why does anybody need to sell a gym membership? Doesn't everybody understand that being in shape is good? Doesn't everybody understand that working out keeps you healthy and keeps you in shape and allows you to live longer? Why does anybody need to sell a gym membership? Why does anybody need to think about it if they're going to join the gym or not? And think about that. All right, why does that even exist? Why is that even necessary? I can understand you're selling something that is maybe a little bit more complicated and people need help on the execution part. I can understand the personal trainer part, but the actual just joining the gym, why do you need a salesperson for that? Only way I can see is maybe this person looking at multiple gyms and they're trying to pick which one to join. Maybe whoever gives me the better offer or something like that. But you don't need a salesperson for that. You can just give me the list, give me the offer. Maybe you could use a salesperson. Point being, many people are just slow to think, slow to decide, and slow to take action. And they need professionals to help them out. And if that means you need to manipulate someone to get them to think, decide, and act, then that's what the hell you should be doing. Again, that's why you have the title that you have. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, manipulation is a good thing. Number 3, the best leaders, the best influencers, and the best salespeople are masters at manipulation, ethical manipulation. And they're masters at manipulation, period. They could use it unethically, but they're masters at the ethical part of manipulation. The best leaders, the best influencers, and the best salespeople, they manipulate all day, every day. Again, in an ethical way, above the board way. You look around, you'll notice this. They represent, say, and do things that do what? That alters other people's moods, alters other people's thoughts, and alters other people's actions. This is what influencers do. Any person who's well known online, any person who is a leader in any organization, any person who's really good at persuading and influencing people to take actions, this is what they do. Let me tell you again what they do. They alter other people's moods with their communication. They alter the way other people think, and thus they're able to move other people to do things. Anyone who has these three abilities will be successful in anything they do in life. You can alter another person's mood, thought, or action, or ideally all three. You can pretty much get anything you want in life. And if you can't do any of these three, you're not going to get anything that you want in life. So I suggest that you get on the right side of this equation. That's why they're leaders. A leader is a leader because they have this ability. Leaders manipulate other people every day. You see the movie Wolf of Wall Street with what was based on the story of Jordan Belfort, but played by Leonardo DiCaprio. Was he a manipulator? Absolutely, he was. Now, some of you here may insert a joke. Well, he was doing some illegal stuff in the process of doing what he was doing. Aside from that, was he a very influential individual? Yes, he was. Was he able to alter the moods of his staff and his prospects that he sold stuff to? Yes, he was. Was he able to change their way of thinking with his sales process? Yes, he was. And was he able to move people to action with the stuff that he said? Yes, he did. Why? The guy was a leader, all right, and still is to this day, still alive to this day. All right, the guy was able to alter people's thoughts, moods, and behaviors. And that's what every leader can do. So leaders have to manipulate all the time. If you're in sales, for example, you got to manipulate your sales team every day to keep them moving, keep them activated and ready to do what they want to do. Because if a leader fails to manipulate, they can't lead. And when you fail to lead, your team will lose, because the people on your team, they may not be able to move themselves to action. That's why they have you. All right, that's why you're there. All right, they need you to do that. Your team loses, your constituents lose, you lose, all society loses, your family loses, everybody loses. I said at the end of point number 2, you have to reframe the way that you look at this term, manipulation. Start looking at it as a positive rather than as a negative. Look at it as something that you do on purpose and consciously rather than something that you hide in the shadows. As long as you are using it for positive reasons, you should be looking to manipulate as much and as often and as strongly as you possibly can. Why not? Why wouldn't you do that? The people who need your help want and need to be manipulated, okay? Because they're failing to manipulate themselves. Again, this is where you come in. All right, that's your job. You come in and manipulate them because they can't do it on their own. Let's recap today's class, which says manipulation is a good thing, defined as to control or play upon by artful, unfair, or insidious means, especially to one's own advantage. And again, you hear people talk about this as if it's a negative thing, but it's actually not, depending on how you frame it. And I'm reframing it for you here today. Point number 1, any action done intentionally or unintentionally to alter someone's behavior is a form of manipulation. We all do this. All right, anytime you're trying to get someone to do something that they otherwise were not thinking about or planning on doing themselves at the exact moment that you wanted them to do it, you're manipulating them. You get someone to do something 5 minutes faster than they would have done it without you. You manipulated them by 5 minutes. You get someone to make a decision that they were putting off, you're manipulating them in some way, especially if you're getting them to do it in some way that is helping you. And almost everything we do is to help ourselves, maybe helping other people too, but we're also helping ourselves. You sell something, you're helping them, but you're also helping you because you get paid, right? Point number 2, living or behaving in a way that's not aiming to alter other people's thoughts, words, or actions should not be called honesty. It should be called stupidity, because that's what it is. If you don't try to alter other people's behaviors, you're going to have a lonely and long life of trying to do everything on your own. It's going to take a long time. You're going to barely scrape by. You must learn to manipulate other people, again, in a positive way that helps both them and you. It's called the win-win situation. Number 3, the best leaders, influencers, and salespeople are masters of ethical manipulation. They represent, say, and do things that alters other people's moods, thoughts, and actions. That's what makes them leaders. The fact that they can do this on a consistent basis, and that's why they stay leaders. When they lose the ability to do this, they lose the ability to lead. If you want to be a leader, all you got to do is get good at those things. Again, represent, do, and say things that move people to action, change their behaviors, and change their moods and change their thoughts. That's what great leaders do. You must become good at manipulation. If you're not good at it, get good at it so you can stop getting manipulated and you can start dishing it out instead of just taking it. All that said, folks, workonyourgameuniversity.com. You want to learn how to get better at your persuasion skills, at your leadership skills, at your people skills, at your communication skills. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Have me as your personal coach, and let's get to work. Work on your game. Dre, all